Joe Ankier with Josh Buatsi for Behind the Gloves. Well, Josh, headlining, big press conference in your hometown, Croydon. How was that?
It's amazing, man. It's nice to be announced, but most importantly, in my hometown. This is where I actually grew up. So there's a lot of people that came that I've seen, that I've known since I was little, that I've met recently. So it's nice to be in a familiar area.
Is this the first press conference that you've had all focused on yourself?
It's not, but it's the first one that's been in my hometown, Croydon, so it's a special one, definitely.
Excellent. Well, listen, obviously a lot of talk about you moving to Skye, signing a multi-year deal with Boxer. You've made a lot of changes recently. You've obviously left DAZN, left Matchroom, you left 258 as well. Tell me why so many changes all at once?
I entered a stage where I felt I needed to restart again, to be more involved in the things that are about me, that are about myself, about who I'm fighting, what I'm doing next. It's nice when people can say, oh, we went to this meeting on your behalf, but sometimes I like to be in those meetings. I just want to know what's going on, especially if it's about myself. So I just wanted to change a few things that I think will be for my benefit, because I noticed I only get one shot at this. There's only one run at it. There's not going to be a time in 10 years' time to run it back. It's only one attempt at it. So I think I just wanted to be more involved, to know about myself and what's being spoken about me, how I'm being spoken about, how I'm being represented and stuff like that. So I made a lot of changes, but I think it's for the better.
Did you feel like you were one of too many people perhaps in Matchroom? It sounds like to me, and maybe you're going to be a slightly bigger fish in a different pond?
With Matchroom, I just feel that the contract simply came to an end. They had to match certain things which they couldn't match, and based on that I was able to go to the market, get a very good deal that I couldn't say no to, hence why we're sitting here. It was a very good deal that I was offered on a very, very big platform with a good promoter, so I couldn't say no to that.
So what's been the conversation, sorry to be direct, but in terms of yourself and Eddie, any sort of repercussions or beef or any hard feelings there? From
my side, not at all. I haven't got the time to be thinking about him. I'm more thinking, this is where I'm at now, what's next for me? There's been no communications, there's nothing to say. Of course, there's been stuff in the letters back and forth with my team and his team, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm in a good position now, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Okay, and just a little bit more on that. A lot of people thought you might go to Queensbury and BT. You were commentating, you were an analyst, on the Anthony Yarde Better BF show. That was surprising a lot of people, and also America, because I know you do some training out there. How come you didn't make these decisions?
I think for the States, I just like to train there. It's good enough. I stayed there long enough. So to fight there, I want people that I know to come to the fight, man. Not saying that people wouldn't travel to the States, but if you know the fights at the O2, you know how to get there. If it's in Birmingham, Manchester, you know how to get there. If it's in the States, we're talking about traveling for how many hours via flying. So that's kind of why I wanted to stay here, because this is where I've been boxing. This is where people know me a lot more. And with the Queensbury,
I think Frank was quite upset. I think there was also talk of an Anthony Yarde fight.
Exactly, there was a talk of an Anthony Yarde fight, but that wasn't the only caveat to it. It's like, that's one side fighting Yarde, but there's other fights that come with it. There's other things that we need to think about that come with it. And that's one thing that's kind of making me frown upon these promoters, because all these one-liners are coming out from their side, but they're not saying the whole picture. I'm never offered a one fight. It's a one fight plus X, Y, and Z, and that's what I'm not happy about. So I'm not going to say yes to something just because of one fight, no.
Sure. Okay, so what are Skye offering you? How are you seeing the next, couple of years unfolding?
First and foremost, before I answer that, if I asked you what the biggest platform in the country was, who would you say?
It's also changing. There are networks being bought by other networks.
Okay, but I understand the answer you've given, but I think if we ask most people in here, they'll say Skye. So I said to myself, as an athlete, as a fighter, what platform would give me the most exposure? And it's Skye. And they came into the plan. Boxer, they've got a young promoter who's he's got loads of energy. Look at him doing all the interviews, saying all he wants to say. So you want someone that's passionate about that sport, that wants to push and drive you, that wants to get you into the big fights on the biggest platform. So it was quite simple for me.
Okay, listen, you haven't fought in a year. We're going to see you in May. Any ideas the kind of opponent you want and what you see for the rest of your year?
that's for Ben to make, man. It's up to me now to go to the States as soon as possible and to prepare. In terms of opponents and that's for him to decide. But let's remember, I've got good rankings. I aim to keep them and to be a mandatory for a title soon.
You've got to be looking at those world titles. When you were watching that Anthony Yarde and being an analyst for it, Better BF fight, were you thinking, I want to take on both of them, either of them? How far away do you feel from that level? You know, the Russians, Bivol, Beterbiev. When would you be ready?
ASAP for them, man. Looking at the Yarde fight, again, credit to him. I mean, he put in a tremendous performance. A fight like that with myself and Yarde, I still want to make it happen. I still want to have those fights. Frank coming out and saying what he said, it doesn't have to be on BT Sport. Of course, it's in his interest for that to happen, but it doesn't have to be. But those are the kind of fights I'm looking for.
Okay, and world titles, where were we thinking? I mean, there was a talk of you and Bivol. I mean, you haven't been in the ring since last May, so presumably you'd want like maybe 1 or 2 fights before that?
Yeah, I guess 1 or 2 fights before anything like that. But again, let's look at the narrative. I read it recently that I just turned down the fight for £1 million. No, let's look at what came with that. It wasn't, do you want to fight Bivol for £1 million, yes or no? That wasn't what it was. There's so much things that came with if you do accept it. And that's what people need to wake up to. It's not as simple, do you want to fight this guy, yes or no? It's if you accept this fight, it comes with this, that, and
what does it come with?
Extensions, fight extensions, things you have to sign up for that you yourself as the fighter are not going to be happy with. And for me, it's important that if I'm signing anything, and any type of extension, I'm happy with it. If I'm not happy with it, I'm not going to be short-sighted and just accept one fight. No, it doesn't work like that. So people have to wake up and know that I didn't just say no to these fights. There were extensions that came with it.
That you weren't happy with. Also, you just turned 30, right? Yesterday?
I did. You didn't have to bring that, but thank you.
It's a big day, big day. Well, listen, you've got plenty of time ahead, and we're pretty sure we're going to be seeing you take a world title fight soon. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this little icon right here, or else.